Although there have already been a ton of Premier League transfers so far in this transfer window, every Premier League club still needs to sign at least one more player in my opinion. So today, let's take a look at one player every Premier League club must buy. Now going off of alphabetical order, let's start with Arsenal Football Club, who have already had a super successful transfer window so far. They already got their key signings done early, with them acquiring Kai Havertz from Chelsea for £65 million, Jurrien Timber from Ajax for £38.5 million, and of course the most important of them all, Declan Rice from West Ham for a grand total of £105 million. Them getting Champions League football is helping out a ton with their transfers. And now with all the business they've already done, I can definitely see them getting top 4 next season as well. However, despite these signings, I still think Arsenal need at least one more player during this window. So who should Arsenal sign? Well, I think they should go for Celta Vigo midfielder Gabri Veiga. Now Veiga is coming off a successful La Liga season for Celta Vigo, with him bagging 11 goals and 4 assists in 36 games for the Spanish club. It doesn't seem like he's going to be staying in Spain as well, with a ton of news outlets saying that he wants Premier League football next season, and there are a ton of clubs interested in him like Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City. However, I personally think that Veiga at Arsenal would be a great match. He's only 21 years old with huge potential, so Arsenal signing him will be more of a long-term project, just like most of the Arsenal players on the team right now, since most are very young like Veiga. He would fit in right with the boys, plus him and Odegaard cooking in the midfield would be kind of fire in my opinion. So yeah, Veiga to Arsenal, that's what I'm saying. Next on the list we got Aston Villa, and I think they should sign another winger. Although they already have some talent on the wings, like Leon Bailey as one of their many examples, Villa is going to be challenging in Europe with the Conference League, and with wingers more often than not getting gassed the most easily, I think another winger is necessary for their squad. And that's why for Villa, I think it will be a good idea to sign Harvey Barnes from Leicester City. Listen, Barnes is definitely not going to stay at Leicester when they've been relegated to the Championship. And why should he? He bagged 13 goals and 3 assists in 40 games last season in the Prem, and he deserves a good team to go to. And although Newcastle is apparently the most interested, I think Barnes going to Villa would be huge for him and his career, since I believe he could be an automatic starter for the club. Plus, him playing for a good Villa side can maybe help his chances with England. Who knows though? Now let's move on to another English club, AFC Bournemouth. They've had a huge exodus at the club recently, with the likes of Jefferson Lerma, Jack Stacey, Junior Stanislas, and Jordan Zamora already leaving the club. However, Bournemouth have already done some good business in this transfer window to replace these players. For example, they signed Justin Clifford from Roma and Hamed Junior Traore from Sassuolo. So with them already signing 2 attacking options this summer, I think they need to sign another player that can help them defensively, just to make sure that they aren't in a relegation fight for next season. Therefore, with them losing left back Zamora, I think they should sign another left back, Robin Gosens from Inter Milan. Now hear me out, I know I'm sounding crazy because Bournemouth signing a player who played in the Champions League final last season, that's kinda mad. But listen though, Inter Milan are apparently looking to sell him this summer, and he was actually set to join Union Berlin, but the deal collapsed towards the ending stages of it. So with Gosens reportedly on the move, why wouldn't he want to challenge himself in the best league in the world? Plus, he'd be an immediate starter and one of the stars of the team for sure. However, if I was Gosens, I would make sure that in the contract there's a relegation clause, just so he can escape if necessary. Alright, next up, let's talk about Brentford, who were actually really impressive last season and got 9th place in the league. And a huge reason for this was because of Ivan Toney, who bagged 20 goals and 4 assists in 33 matches last season. However, he's recently been banned from playing football for a few months because of the illegal betting stuff he did, which means that Brentford are going to need to find another quality striker that can replace Toney while he's banned. And I think the answer to this question is actually within England itself, but not in the Premier League. Instead, Brentford should look into the Championship, and there they'll find the Coventry City striker Viktor Gyökeres, a 25-year-old Swedish striker. He was killing it for Coventry City this past season, with him bagging 22 goals and 12 assists in 50 games. And with Coventry losing out on the Premier League after losing to Luton Town in the playoff final on penalties, I'm sure some of their players who impressed this season will be rated by Premier League clubs, and Gyökeres will definitely be one of them. Moving forward to the next club, let's talk about Brighton Hove and Albion, who've actually also had an exodus at their club as well. McAllister was actually signed for a bargain of £35 million to Liverpool, and Moises Caicedo seems set to join Chelsea for a huge sum of money. With 2 midfielders gone, they're definitely going to need some replacements. Now Brighton have already actually gone ahead and signed De Hood from Dortmund, which is an underrated signing in my opinion, and they've also got the veteran James Milner in the team as well. However, I believe they still need another solid midfielder in their ranks, and maybe someone who's on the younger side of things, unlike James Milner's his old ass. That's why I think the perfect signing for Brighton, which is somebody they're actually linked to in real life, is Mohamed Kudus, the 22-year-old Ghanaian attacking midfielder from Ajax. Now Kudus was set to be one of the biggest talents in the next generation of football, however injuries did slow his hype down a little bit. However, this past season, Kudus has been killing it for Ajax in the midfield position, with them getting a total of 18 goals and 7 assists in 42 games. Now these aren't world-class stats, but they're really good for a 22-year-old midfielder, and I think Brighton could actually really benefit from an attacking player like Kudus. With him and De Hood in the midfield, they could be the next good Brighton duo with the McAllister and Caicedo leaving. So for me, the decision is obvious. Kudus has to go to Brighton. Now next up we got Burnley, who are finally back in the Premier League, but this time without Sean Dyche, and instead it's Vincent Kompany leading the lines. And Kompany got Burnley playing some beautiful football. Burnley in proper football. I never thought I'd see the day. Anyways, according to my research, it seems like Vincent Kompany and Burnley are looking for a creative attacking midfielder this summer to help them in the Premier League. And there's a player over in Belgium that would be perfect for the role, and his name is Mike Trezor. I'm not gonna say his complete last name because I know I would definitely butcher it, but the 24-year-old attacking midfielder for Genk is coming off an extremely successful season with the club, with him bagging a total of 8 goals and 24 assists in 42 games. He perfectly fits the criteria of what Burnley are looking for, and plus, Kompany coached in the Belgian league before with Anderlecht, so he would know whether taking him from the Belgian league to the Premier League would be a good idea or not. So with Kompany's expertise, I think Trezor will be a great signing for Burnley. Now let's move on to Chelsea, where a ton of players are leaving the club this summer. As they should, by the way. They had way too many players last season. I mean, listen, Kai Havertz left for Arsenal, Mason Mount left for Manchester United, Koulibaly, Edouard Mendy, and Ziyech, I think, unless he actually failed his medical, all went to Saudi Arabia, and Pulisic might leave to AC Milan. So Chelsea are losing a ton of players, but they're still looking to sign someone to get them up from that terrible mid-table finish last season. And the perfect fit for Chelsea right now, in my opinion, is someone they're actually linked to and they'll probably sign. But I think Moises Caicedo would just be a perfect fit for what Chelsea needs at the club right now. And a midfield of Moises Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez, nah man, Chelsea are actually cooking something special over there in London. Next up, let's go to another London club, and this time it's Crystal Palace. Now Palace are always brewing up some special talent at their club. They already have really talented players in their ranks like Eze, Olise, and even my American center back Chris Richards. However, they need some better fullbacks in my opinion, and Palace are always going to look for the next underrated talent. So for me, a perfect choice for Palace this summer would be the Galatasaray right back Sacha Boey. The French player is coming off a very impressive season with the Turkish Giants, and it's being reported that he's looking for a new challenge abroad. So why not challenge yourself in the best league in the world with a team that you're definitely going to be a starter for? This choice just makes too much sense in my opinion. Let's now move on to Everton. Sorry, my fault. Anyway, speaking about Everton, they've had 2 horrendous seasons back to back where they almost got relegated. So they really need to freshen up their squad this summer. And personally, what I think they need is a reliable goal scorer who is in their prime right now. Because for me, Everton cannot focus on the long-term plan. Instead, they should be focused on not being in a relegation fight next season. Because you know the saying, man, third time's a charm. So I've actually got the perfect solution for Everton this summer, and I only recently found out about this guy, but I think Habib Diallo from Strasbourg would be a great fit for Everton. The Senegalese 28-year-old striker is in the prime of his career, and last season in Ligue 1, he bagged 20 goals and 1 assist in 38 games. He finished as one of the best goal scorers in France, and I think that should convince Everton to pounce on him. Now, I don't know whether Diallo actually wants to leave Strasbourg this summer, but Premier League money talks, so who cares? His wages will literally be doubled, bro. No one's stupid enough to reject that type of money. Next up, we got Fulham, who did really well in the Premier League last season after just being promoted from the Championship, with them getting 10th place in the league. So Fulham might not actually be a yo-yo club anymore. Who knows? Please remember to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and it means a lot, so thank you. Anyways, Fulham need to focus on not getting hit with second season syndrome like Sheffield United did a couple years back. So they need to bolster up their squad this summer. Now, I've seen some people say that Fulham needs some additional center backs, but I don't think that's the case. I think Tim Ream is going to play with the club until he's 50 years old probably, and he's aging like fine wine. So I think Fulham are actually chilling in the back. What Fulham need right now, in my opinion, is an elite attacker. Moner Solomon just dipped them for Tottenham, and Anders Pereira might not be the most reliable player in the world. That's why I think the best option for Fulham right now is to look into the MLS. And they should sign one of the best players in the league in my opinion, Thiago Almada from Atlanta United. The 22-year-old Argentinian is destroying the MLS so far, with him having 8 goals and 9 assists in 18 games. He's the star of the show right now in the States, and Fulham can use an attacker like that in their squad. I personally think this would be a great fit. Finally, let's move on to my club, Liverpool, who have had an amazing transfer window so far. They've gotten rid of some players like they should have done a long time ago, like Naby Keita respectfully, and have signed some great players for the rebuild, like McAllister and Szoboszlai for their midfield already. However, with Fabinho only getting older and being inconsistent, I think another 6 is required at the club. That's why I think I'm going to say Romeo Lavia is someone that Liverpool should go for, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Who knows, maybe by the time this video comes out, they might have already signed the Belgian center defensive mid. He already has Premier League experience with him playing for Southampton, and he was one of their few positives from last season. So yeah, Liverpool and FSG, you better sign this man. Anyways, let's now move on to Luton Town, who have made the top flight of English football after 30 plus years. Now let's just jump straight into this. Luton Town need a goalkeeper. They're not going to sign Ethan Horvath permanently from Nottingham Forest, who's their keeper back down in the championship. So they're gonna need a new one. And my pick for Luton Town is quite ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie, there's a 99% chance that this isn't gonna happen. But I'm trying to have some fun with this video, so I'm just gonna say it. I think Luton Town should do everything to sign David De Gea from Manchester United. Now I know, you're probably thinking I'm insane for saying this, but hear me out, man. Let me cook. Andre Onana is all but set to join Manchester United, which means they're replacing De Gea as the starting keeper already. De Gea is on too high of wages to be a backup keeper, so United is probably gonna get rid of him. That's where Luton Town steps in. They need a keeper, and now they're playing Premier League football. And De Gea at the back saving goals and commanding the back line would be a huge positive for Luton. So Luton Town should definitely spend some of that playoff money for De Gea's wages. And hopefully this would convince him to join, because this would be a massive signing. Next up, we got the current trouble holders, Manchester City, who have had an extremely successful campaign last season, obviously. They barely need to bolster up their squad, bro. They're already so broken. However, Gundogan, one of their most important players from last season, has left for FC Barcelona. And with Guardiola pretty much already joining City, they're already getting another defender, which means that I should sign a good Gundogan replacement that City should sign. And I got just the right person. And yes, I know Kovacic had already signed for City, but I'm talking about someone more creative. Now this might be a strange choice, but I'm actually going to go for Julian Brandt from Borussia Dortmund. Now the German midfielder has had a great season, with him getting 10 goals and 9 assists in a total of 42 games. Now he might not be the shiniest toy in the block, but he would be a pretty much like-to-like replacement for Gundogan, which is something City could definitely need. Plus with him being coached by Pep Guardiola, you never know, Brandt might be the next Gundogan or something. Let's now move on to the red side of Manchester, Man United. They're having a pretty good transfer window so far, with them signing Mason Mount for the midfield, and they're also looking good to sign Onana as their new starting goalkeeper. However, they still need a world-class striker in my opinion, something that they've been lacking since Cristiano Ronaldo left the club. Now for me, I do not like Manchester United at all. I literally would never want to see this happen, but I think it would make way too much sense for Manchester United to splash the cash for Harry Kane. Listen, with Harry Kane only getting older, he's gonna start wanting to win trophies soon, and you're not gonna win shit at Tottenham, respectfully. I've also seen that Bayern Munich have bid for Kane this summer, but Kane leaving the Premier League would mean that he won't be able to break the all-time Premier League goal scoring record, which is something I'm sure that he wants to do. Plus, with United being a better side recently, despite getting clapped 7-0 by Liverpool, they have chances at winning some more trophies for the next few years. Therefore, it makes way too much sense that a world-class striker like Harry Kane could join United, just so he can win some trophies like the Carabao Cup or something, and also can still break the all-time Premier League goal scoring record. However, Kane, please don't go to United, bro, please. Next, we got Newcastle United, who have been splashing this summer since they qualified for the Champions League, and plus they also got Saudi Arabian money, so they can splash as much as they want. And they have. They've already signed Tonali from AC Milan for 70 million euros, and I'm sure Newcastle aren't finished either. Now for me, I think Newcastle should bolster up their attack a little bit and add some quality depth. And there's a perfect fit in my eyes for the black and white. Personally, I think that Newcastle should try and sign Ryan Cherki from Lyon. Now if you just look at his goal contributions from last season, they aren't much, but Cherki is still an incredible playmaker and dribbler for both the left and right wing side, which would be perfect for Newcastle as St. Maximin and Almiron need some quality competition. And plus with Newcastle playing in the Champions League and having a ton of money to give for wages, I think Cherki would love the idea of playing for the Magpies and being a star boy for the club. Now let's move on to the club that barely survived relegation last season, and that's Nottingham Forest. Last season, it was extremely evident that their defense was horrendous, with them having a negative 30 goal difference to show for it. So this summer, I think it would be smart of Nottingham Forest to invest some of that money into a new defender. And some of you guys may clown me for saying this, but I think Harry Maguire to Nottingham Forest would actually be a pretty good deal for them. Manchester United want to get rid of Maguire because he's not at the level that United are aiming for, but that doesn't mean Maguire isn't Premier League quality. He has plenty of Premier League experience and has played at the biggest tournaments for England, who would be a great addition in the back for Nottingham, and not just on a pitch but off of it as well, with him having great leadership qualities that could help the team in their second season back up in the Prem. Let's now go over to Sheffield United, who also made it back to the Premier League. Now last season, Sheffield were carried by lone players, and with most of them returning to their parent clubs, they're going to need a lot of new players, especially in the midfield, because there's a huge gap. For Sheffield, I think the midfielder that they should be looking for is someone who's more on the attacking side of things, somebody who's creative, but also somebody who doesn't want to take the risk of playing for Sheffield United just in case they might get relegated this season, because they're one of the favorites to go down. Therefore, I think a good loan signing would actually be Carney Chukwuemeka, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, but he's a really great English talent at Chelsea right now. However, despite him having a huge upside, he's not going to get much game time with Chelsea, but I still think he should be getting used to playing Premier League football, so getting a loan move to Sheffield United would be a smart move for him and Sheffield. Next up is Tottenham, a club that I'm often making fun of, and it's not my fault they're so memeable, bro. Anyways, who do I think Tottenham should sign this summer? Well, I'm going to assume that Harry Kane is going to leave. Whether he's leaving this summer or next summer, I don't know, but he's going to be gone in the near future. That's why I think Tottenham should focus on signing a new world-class striker, someone who could try to best replace Harry Kane's goals. And I think the perfect man for this job is Gonçalo Ramos. The Portuguese Benfica striker has been on fire this past season, with him scoring 27 goals and 12 assists in 47 games. And he also lit up the World Cup with Portugal, scoring a hat hat-trick in the competition. He has everything to be a future world-class striker, good positioning, incredible shooting accuracy, and a massive strong. Seriously, that shit is humongous, bro. He's packing. Anyways, on a more serious note, I think Ramos would be a perfect signing for Tottenham. So Daniel Levy, bring out the check, bro. Let's now move on to the penultimate team of this video, West Ham United, who actually just lost their most important player in recent years, Declan Rice, to Arsenal. So almost immediately, it's obvious that West Ham need a new defensive midfielder. And I know just the man for the job. It's gotta be the American Tyler Adams from Leeds United. Listen, before Adams got a season-ending injury, he was carrying the defensive side of things for Leeds in the Prem. However, after he got injured, it all started going downhill for Leeds United and they got relegated. In my opinion, Tyler Adams is too good to be playing in the Championship, so he should be getting out of Leeds United. And with West Ham playing Europa League football in the 23-24 campaign, and the fact that they need a new defensive midfielder, I think Tyler Adams would be the right man for the job. Now last but not least, we got Wolverhampton Wanderers, who are losing some club legends this summer. They're going to be losing Raul Jimenez, and they also just lost their captain Ruben Neves to Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. So it's safe to say that Wolves need to rebuild this summer. So who should they get? I think for Wolves, signing a player in the midfield is much more important than signing a new striker for the club because they already got Hwang Hee-chan. Therefore, I think the perfect sign for Wolves right now would actually be Daichi Kamada from Eintracht Frankfurt. Well, he's actually not playing for Frankfurt anymore because he has left as a free agent. Now listen, Kamada is being linked to Italian clubs a lot so far, like AC Milan and Roma, but I think with Wolves needing another 8 and somebody who could do both the attacking and defensive things, I think Kamada would be a great fit for the club. Plus, he's free, bro. Like, this couldn't be a better time to sign him. So Wolves, y'all should be pouncing on this deal. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below whether you agree or disagree with my picks for these Premier League clubs. And also, please remember to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And if you want to learn more about an elite footballer's backstory, Antoine Griezmann, you should definitely check out this video right here. You won't regret it.